Well, coal ash pollution at 3 Maryland landfills will be cleaned up, and the operator of the power plants has agreed to pay a total of $2.2 million in penalties.
CTV News first brought you a story about a Brandywine landfill used to store waste from Pepco, where fly ash was washing off into a nearby tributary of the Patuxent River.
And Patuxent Riverkeeper Fred Tutman is joining us now for an update on the lawsuits. And first off, we want to clarify, Pepco was sold to GenOn, so this is about GenOn having to clean up.
Yeah, this facility's been through a number of hands. The current owner and applicant, and the party to the consent decree is GenOn, is the name of the corporation. Pepco's not in that loop.
Okay. Well, briefly give us some background on these lawsuits.
Well, this was a citizen lawsuit under the Clean Water Act. The facility, which is located in Brandywine on North Keys Road, has contamination in its monitoring wells, cadmium, arsenic, selenium, at 50 times the drinking water standard. The facility actually has a permit to discharge into Mattaponi Creek, which drains into the Patuxent. It runs through a state park, Merkel State Wildlife Sanctuary, and it joins the main channel, the Patuxent. We don't really know the extent of the contamination to the neighboring residential wells, and that's part of the consent decree. The company now needs to go and characterize and research and evaluate the extent of the contamination in the local ecosystem. They then have to remediate it. They, of course, as you mentioned, have to pay fines. We're hoping the state will open this up for public comment. There may be an opportunity for citizens to both read. You can already read it online. We'll post it on our website this evening, the consent decree. But we'd also like to have engagement from citizens who are affected by this. During the negotiation, citizens couldn't really know what was going on. So now it's out in the public, and we'd like people to kind of join in.
Now, these are some complicated lawsuits that we're talking about here, but really you say this all comes down to public health. Can you explain?
Well, sure. The chemicals I mentioned are toxic to both marine life as well as to human beings. Coal waste is not something you want to put on your cornflakes or in your coffee. This is not good stuff. It can harm you. It can, too much of some of these contaminants can actually kill you. It's not complicated in the sense that this is an industrial waste site. Coal waste is a byproduct of coal generation for electricity at the Chalk Point plant. I believe it's one of the largest coal burning plants in the state of Maryland, located in southern Prince George's County.
And we followed this story. We've been following it since December 2010, and you could actually see in some of the video we just showed shots of this fly ash just flying around. It was in my hair, in my eyes when we were at the site, and I remember it vividly. But tell us about that surrounding area. It's some pristine area that's now affected by all this.
Well, that's true. I think of this as Patuxent Central because downstream of this location is a popular fishing spot. Like I said, it's a state park that has lots of science experiments. I should mention, too, and you raise a good point, that the coal waste that's blowing off of the site is not covered by this consent decree. This is not an ideal consent decree. It's the best, I think, that the parties felt they could get under these circumstances. But the fugitive dust, as that's called, that's not covered. That's not addressed in this.
Are you happy in the settlement with these lawsuits?
Well, I think, again, this is the best that the parties to this could have gotten. I think it could be a whole lot better. Am I happy? It's a step in the right direction, but let's be clear, nothing's happened yet. This is a handshake and an agreement and a consent decree. Now we have to implement it, and that'll take years to actually clean this site up, abate any hazards that exist to the surrounding community. The work's just beginning.
And as we want to mention, you want to get the public's input on this. There's still time for that. So we just want to tell you thank you first off for joining us here. And for more information on this lawsuit, you can go to the Patuxent River website. That's PAX, P-A-X, riverkeeper.org.